I just want to say hello, everyone. If you don't already know me, my name is Russ. I'm an admin here in PX. Um, this right here is my dog Dax. I've known him for like a few weeks now. We've been DMing, and he's a W. Just so you guys know,
Hello,
Dax, you can
everyone.
introduce yourself.
Yeah, so hey everyone, I'm Dax PMFT. I am known in this SD community for like 2 years at this point. Some people do know me. I'm not that mainstream, but I'm still a semi-relevant community person in the code community, especially.
Yeah. So for those
So
for those that are new to my interview style, because I've only done like one interview, that's public. So what I like to do is go through the past, present, and future for the creators here, and I kind of want to see how they started out as who they are, how they are currently, and where they see themselves in the future. Dax, do you have any questions before we begin?
no, not really. I'm just going to start speaking about, you know, everything that's happened according to your questions and see where we go with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I have like a little timeline here. We're probably gonna get like completely away from this, but I'm gonna try to steer it back.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
So first off, how were you younger in like your younger days? So like when your introduction to like anime or manga, how did like that start out with? Like what was like your first anime? Let's begin there.
Actually, my route to my first anime is a bit weird. I started playing those, you know, uh, visual novel-like games. So I started with games that have alternate routes, like Detroit Become Human
Hmm.
and Telltale's Walking Dead, if you know them.
Oh, dude, I
And
love that game.
yeah, yeah, I actually loved it too. I completed Telltale's Walking game many, many times because I just enjoyed doing all the routes and all the different choices. It gave you a spirit of liberty, which now in more games, uh, it's getting more popular, which is a good thing.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's just an amazing game. Anyway, so from that, I kept trying to look into more games which happened to follow this formula, and I stumbled on DDLC, like Doki Doki's Literal Club.
Hmm.
Sorry, Doki Doki Literal Literature Club.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'll get used to my English as the interview goes, because it's the secondary language. And I'm actually, wait, actually, this is a good practice because I'm taking some Cambridge exams soon.
So I'm happy to help out.
Yeah. Okay, anyway. So I went and explored that game first. Then I just happened to follow the schedule and just my habit of, exploring everything the game has to offer, and just went to the community and just happened to stumble onto mods and all that. And essentially, since it was the first uh time I interact with anime, unlike many of my other IRL friends, which were actually used to seeing those things at this point, for me it was all very weird. Um, I just happened to get recommendations of anime and shit, and just happened to watch some clips, and just at one point started to watch some animes, and just went to that
Hmm.
throughout like a period of, I don't know, a year and a half, maybe.
Hmm. And so
Uh,
so you
yeah.
started playing video games that had like alternate routes. Then you got to DDLC and you started becoming more at least knowledgeable on like anime and you started getting recommendations. So, what came about to you being introduced to like SED? Since
Um, yeah. Before SCD, there was a period which was sort of uh sort of known as proto SCD. It was some sort of abomination between power scaling and intelligence scaling, and
Mm-hmm.
it featured verses like Code, Tokyo Revengers, like Tomodachi Game, all of these.
Mm-hmm.
It was also the period when we saw people like TSL or Kyokoji begin posting videos. Um, anyway, at that point in time, I was actually invested into code, and I was a casual reader and just went in YouTube and saw recommendations of Aina Koji versus I don't know what character, or just these types of general videos. So the first interaction of SCD related content I can say was Acid Ninja's tournament,
Okay.
the first code elimination tournament, the one from more than 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm. And so you mentioned that you were a Coat casual reader. How would you introduce to Coat?
That's actually a pretty long story, surprisingly. Um, Back when I was a middle schooler, I just stumbled upon code like throughout the time I read all of those, or not really read. I just watched most of these animes, which I stumbled upon like Code Geass or Dead Note, and
Mm-hmm.
I went through Code, and I actually liked it very much. Well, I happened to see some trailers and things for the LN, and it got me hyped. And at that point, we weren't even into year two. The latest volume was year one, volume 11 or 11.5, either
Mm-hmm.
one of those. So, I just started reading some short stories or whatever I could find because I did not really know how to read light novels at that point. It was a very new experience to me. Um, yeah, I just went through with some light novel and stuff and just
Mm-hmm.
stuff, and then after I just got bored of it and quit code for like a year or something.
Oh, really?
A year later, when the latest volume was year 2 volume 4, I came back to it and happened to finally find a way to go into the light novels, and I started spoiling myself on what happens in year 2, and just I was very curious about how the story progresses. uh, I don't know why Code was so special for me compared to anything else, especially since I had things like Oregairu or other things which I enjoyed more than Code, and I kind of still do actually.
Oh, so at least compared to some of the other stuff, you like find other stuff more enjoyable. But due to
Yeah,
your
for
connection with Coat, you felt like it had like a special place in your heart.
yeah, and right now especially, I feel like I was groomed to be into the code community, or at least to be one of the people carrying it in SCD. I'm at this point forced into it. But we'll get into that. I will get into that later, and I'll tell you why I think that happened.
Okay, okay.
Uh,
So you read the Coat light novels. You kind of like had that small little break, right? You
Yeah, I was just not
got back.
interested into it. I like my first run with Goat was that, yeah, it's fine, it's alright, it's nothing special, and just moved on past it. A year later, I see that some interesting interesting stuff happens, and there's this new island exam and all that, and I don't know, let's read. And I actually followed through this time around, and kept coming back with each volume which released.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you.
And
Your two was is low key interesting, especially volume 4.
yeah, yeah,
So I
yeah.
can see why you came back.
Yeah, that was a hype period for Code, especially since IT trailers were released and like the first videos or just shorts on Code began on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
That was 2021. Yeah, 2021.
Interesting. And so the year after you, or year or two after, you got introduced to the phosphorus period where it was like power scaling and SED. And
Yeah, that was 2022, around the middle of it. From
yeah.
2021 to 2022, I did not really interact with anime much. I just like, kept coming back for Code and some other media involving anime, and, watched a bit of that and just moved on. Um, around early 2022 is when I started going more into code, and I started discovering fanfics and all of that. I read some of that, and just I kept getting more code recommendations, and the community was already born,
Mm-hmm.
and I just happened to fall into it, just like many other people.
Yeah. And so this kind of gave you a transition. And
Hmm.
what part did you start getting into like editing, since your channel did start around May of 23?
Yeah, well, that's a long story involving you know things which already happened into the community, which made me start channels. It's kind of interesting. I'll talk about it a bit later. So, yeah, I just happened to get into SCD, and from that I started, arguing and getting to comments, and the community kept developing. From that proto SCD period, which were we had Tokyo Revengers versus Code debates, which I
Mm-hmm.
got into. I was like some sort of small power scaler at that point. I just transitioned to, SCD, as many people did, but a bit earlier than most people. I got into contact with a lot of people in the code community, which helped me a lot. For example, Avent, if you know his channel, he
Mm-hmm.
was here before. Yeah, I was friends with him since 2022, and actually, he helped me a lot, and I also helped him with content and things.
Oh yeah, so like
I
you
have
scratch
I
his
have a
back.
special I have a special relationship with many people outside of the community, but which are members of the code community, because they introduced me to some actual people who know to explain the story, know how to interpret things, and know how to follow the actual narrative in the way it's supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Well, after that period, I became friends with someone known as Kuro,
Okay.
which many people know as the original creator of the Takuya theory, which I helped spread. And that was the first time I sort of had any relevance into SCD. It is also when I contacted Silver on Twitter, I think. And it is also when I started to be recognized for some of my arguments. Since I began doing some research on code, I started writing things about, Nagmo or Yagami or
Mm-hmm.
any other random character. Um, it was all just for fun. Not it wasn't really serious, or it was just something natural, which felt good because I had friends who helped me, especially Kuro, which was a very, very, very good analyst for the time. His 2022 doc is very well articulated, and also holds extremely well to any modern concept which SCD uses, even after 2 years. So, for that reason, I am very grateful to Kuro for his help. I still talk to him right now. He quit around early 2023, but
Okay.
he's the one who connected me to Sento.
Okay. And you said that he left like about early 2023. I'm just trying to piece myself like a little timeline here. So
Yeah,
you started talking to the code community like 2022, like late 2022, early 2023.
yeah, exactly. Then I get into SCD with Kuro. Then we talk and just spread our understanding of code, contact creators. One of them was Sento, which I began to be good friends with, and there's also many others who eventually came. For example, Ace, or you know,
Yeah. So
um,
within the code community, you felt like you had a place ever since you started feeling like you got a little bit of recognition, right? You felt like you
well,
belonged.
it was not really about recognition, since I am pretty indifferent to this sort of stuff. If,
Okay.
for example, I wanted to research Dead Note or Tomodachi Game, and find my place there, I could have decided to do that for, um, you know, just for just on a whim. But
Hmm.
what happened was it was just convenience, really, because I already had a lot of knowledge on code, and it was just very comfortable for me to keep talking about it. At that point, I wanted to give it some sort of impression that I was um, as neutral as I possibly could have been. And I actually wanted to distance myself from COTE during early SCD and try to be someone who can who can represent other communities as well. But since I kept arguing for COTE and coming back to it, since there were many bad interpretations and bad arguments which I had to defend because they were wrong to me, I
Mm-hmm.
just kind of happened to just keep coming back to it, and this identity of defending it in general just
Yeah.
happened to be placed on me. So that is why I say I was kind of groomed into the code community by the SCD community.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So you already found your place within SED, which was the cult community, right? And
Yeah, I wouldn't really say place. I was just a position which I
yeah,
happened to my because I don't have really. It is not about emotional connection really. It's just doing the things I promised and just keeping myself entertained.
so yeah, you're just being yourself. You're just doing
Yeah,
what you
exactly.
think is right.
That- yeah, exactly. That was the main motivation I had, and I still have.
Yeah, and I feel like you're so. I wouldn't say like very like hyped up, but like you're still very like known. I feel like you're very appreciated, just so you know.
Yeah, yeah. I kind of saw that, and I'm actually very grateful to the people who have came to these conclusions themselves.
Yeah.
But it's all about seeing the perspective at a certain moment. Some people have a bad impression of me.
Hmm.
Some have a good impression of me. It all depends on what I have done, and I'll take responsibility for that.
Yeah. At least from my perspective, I joined SCD like late 2023, and I was being bombarded by a lot of stuff, and I saw your name thrown around a few times. By this time, I was probably like a week into SCD, so I was just so confused. I'm like, okay, I don't know whether he's like a bad guy or a good guy. Um, and I knew nobody. The closest person I knew was like Silver, but even then, he probably just saw me as like a little goober in his suit in his server.
Damn. Um, Interesting. You joined around the drama season of SCD.
Yeah, I joined.
Dude,
I joined within that middle period, which we could talk about a little bit, which was kind of like the Coat versus Death Note. I don't want to talk about this too much, but it is
it
something
was
that did
not really
happen.
code versus it was not really code versus Death Note. Many people, including that community, and even people in the code community, supported different members from both sides. It was just something very, very personal, which happened between two members, which escalated.
Yeah.
So I kind of see this as a misconception about it being necessarily Death Note versus Code. Yes, some things started because some takes or just things centered around that, but those were just excuses in my opinion.
Hmm. So
Um,
it was just like an escalation of things that people just wanted to slap something on to make it like a
yeah,
split.
and the backstory of that is very complex.
Yeah.
But since we have an hour, we can talk about it. I have no problem.
All right. Yeah,
Um,
you're open to talk about it.
Yeah, and it's at this point just something to reflect on since
Hmm.
it's not something which impacts me a lot and actually just fascinates me.
Hmm.
Um, it was in a way pretty fun to be in that sort of situation. Um, we'll go back to the 2023 era since you talked about joining in the or no, sorry, you said late 2023, yeah?
Yeah, I joined like October 2023.
Okay, yeah, you joined very late. So
Yeah.
before that, um, I don't think you know, but I tend to categorize SD by four different eras. We can maybe make a fifth one pretty soon, but I'll just say 2022, early 2023, late 2023, and 2024.
Okay.
And the reason I tend to do this is because there's three main distinctions between these periods and then everything else. First of all, we have takes themselves and just the people's understanding of how a certain character um, performs in SD and how good is he in general.
Okay.
Then we have the perception of scaling itself, just the currents or whatever people used to appeal to at that time, whether it was like some sort of narrative argument, whether it was like the stop scaling popular era,
Mm-hmm.
and the other thing is the community figures, which symbolize the respective era. Um, I talked about proto SCD being the period where we had these power scaling involved arguments, which eventually developed into what we know as SCD.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the 2022 era is when SCD finally becomes something different, something which stands out from everything else. And we see we see content creators like Clord Cloud and Kyoka and LVH emerge. And in general, it was just a period of huge novelty, which people actually enjoyed a lot, and I still do. I'm very nostalgic about that period. Um, if you don't know, there's a channel on YouTube called SCDR Hives,
I
which
I, I have seen it.
basically yeah, basically it uh, re-uploads old content from SD from any sort of era in the past, and I talked and managed to get some old videos from Stop and Flamtar to be uploaded there because I think these are to be very appreciated, at least in my subjective perspective,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm very fond of that era specifically. It was very special. No one really knew what they were doing in SCD. We were just yelling, and we thought, "Oh, dude, this is EQ. It's emotional intelligence." Well, Light smiles a lot. Yuichi also makes crazy faces. L and Aina Koji do not, so they're inferior in EQ.
Mm-hmm.
We had these type of arguments relatively common in SCD, and no one really minded because yeah, we did not really know what we were doing. Um, around that time period is when we see characters like L, Johan, Akira, Yuichi finally be very commonly used and argued for. And it is when the first interactions between main SD creators begin. Um, from that point, uh, the interactions develop into a desire to connect with some people and talk about scanning in general, like any sort of social development in any sort of like common topic of discussion. So
Mm-hmm.
from that point on, people start interacting in any form, from Discord to even YouTube comments to Twitter even. My first interaction with some people were on Twitter, for example, Silver and Sento. But when I really think the era which marks the end of this early period of 2022 is when the first Discord servers for SCD begin to emerge. There
Okay.
was and actually here's where I have a pretty big involvement because the first SCD public server which existed was actually my server.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Orphanage.
Okay.
I don't think anyone from 2023 or at least from middle 2023 remembers Orphanage. It was still actually remembered as the nostalgic the nostalgic coliseum of all the popular creators and people involved in SD just coming together to talk, and also the place where some of the first dramas in the community emerge. Anyway, the idea behind it, Orphanage just died. It died in like May or June of 2023 because no one was really managing it at that point. We all moved on. But there were more reasons why it died. Anyway, the way Orphanage came to be was I contacted Gladiator, one of the OG SCD creators, which right now has moved on from the community, to create the first SCD server, which one where we can invite the main content creators, which generally are active in SCD, and then we can maybe decide to make it a public server. And we did that. We went through many comments of SCD creators at that point and just invited them over. And we managed to get like 35 to 50 content creators in the same private server where we just chatted, and it was very, very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
We had people like Cento Gladiator, SSC Ninja, um, who was it? Flantart, Red Siesta. Whoa, many more people. The tape edits, I think it is his name.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
so you
yeah.
had like a bunch of people inside of the server.
Yeah. The interactions were pretty interesting. It was all just some sort of the first meta, the first like um arguments being spread about some characters. I remember it was at that point me and Sento began talking about Yuichi and actually kind of discussing his scaling. And we even talked with Kleex. It was like at the around the last time we actually kind of spoke with Kleex seriously about Yuichi scaling. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, don't get me wrong, I respect all of the arguments. I just want to emphasize that from it was around the last time we actually agreed on Yuichi scaling and things like that.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, yeah. I, so many. Sorry, man. Sorry, so many memories come into play when I think about Orange because it was just like some insanely casual type of discussions, shit, which kept growing throughout February, and it finally started dying around May.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I even it was around that time where I also met people like Loy and other good scarers, which it kind of gave the first competitive vibe of Orphanage, and also kind of it was also the place where scaling was finally split in some way or form.
So yeah, that's kind of where like the debating for SDD like started to arise.
Yeah, I initially thought around that time that maybe, just maybe, we can make people, accept everyone's scaling or just make them agree or something, and we have casual discussions, and maybe it won't diverge into a community having to defend their takes and just having to play rivals with a different side or a different part, which also is forced into doing the same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, some individuals joined, some things got heated, dramas started having spread. Orphanage was no longer the first SD server, or the only SD server which was relevant, because around this point the actual server just killed Orphanage completely. Everyone moved to speak there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, it was around the late Orphanage era where the first seeds of this big drama, which happened in the middle of 2023, actually began being made. From that point, I have gotten very close with people like Sento. Let me just look into the questions a little bit. Um, so, who's the most proficient debater according to me? Well, I actually have some pretty common opinions when it comes to debating. I just agree that people who often engage in the most discussions and often work on improving their argumentation and scaling are, the best debaters in SCDs. And so we can look at people like Dirt, we can look at Droxy, we can look at Loy or Riru. and they're these are basically the most prominent debaters in the community currently. I'm up there, but I don't really engage myself into debates to actually, deserve the same recognition as them. I'm just like doing my own thing. And I can't really even engage in debates at this point since I'm so burdened by the Koji Doc and everything else. So when I'm just forced to discuss, I just hop into and just okay, let's talk and I'll see how I'm going to do. I still have my own level of pride,
Mm-hmm.
but not something which defines me really. I just enjoy like if I'm going to do it, I'm just you know better go into it properly. That's my motivation when it comes to debating. Back to it. So, in our hour of history, some drama happened between C and Sento,
Mm-hmm.
who is my good friend. I really forgot about how it started. I suppose it was a scaling difference, and they just, I don't know, began insulting each other. Just something happened out of the blue around the time the actual server started. Somehow Sento just made a bad joke or just generally bluffed to see that he has some, I don't know, dirt on him or whatever, and just from that point C started stalking him and the thing just spilled over. Some things happened which involved two private servers of ours,
Okay.
uh, f- and some outside server was attacked and just um, we had to just calm down from that moment since what essentially happened is both sides started antagonizing each other for some events which happened in the past, and from that point more people just looked at themselves as the enemy. I still have my own opinions about who's in the wrong and who was in the right at certain points of time, but yeah, we can say that this first initial phase, aside being the main motive for why the big drama happened in around August or September, if yeah, it was just not a very
It was not like
properly. Yeah, you say first. What do
yeah.
you?
So it was not like a. I'm pretty sure I'm trying to think of the word you're trying to think of, but it was not very like I guess cohesive since it really like set like a big divide. Even though
Yeah,
your major intent was trying to bring a community together, and it just ended up
yeah.
being split.
And it really pains me because it happened between people which brought into the community
Mm-hmm.
and I trusted really, and just it went nowhere. It was just a big one of my big failures around that period.
Yeah.
My main mission with Orphanage was to bring scares together and see if we can work something out. And even if I wasn't perfect, since I was also moderately toxic, involving some people when they made some bad decisions or just made fools out of themselves, I just behaved like everyone else would have at that point. Those do not really compare to full-on dramas which happened due to the community starting being divided.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, so I went siding with my old friends and I got involved into, having to ensure that drama does not happen. It was around that time which also people like Sahej joined the community, and from that moment when we talk about Sahej, we already start to think about late 2023 rather than early, since
Yeah.
early was kind of like the golden era where the community finally started being connected and there wasn't really any drama. It was just all fun and games, and it wasn't even really that serious scaling itself. But people actually made efforts. So if you had bad scaling per se, you were going to be criticized to a degree.
Yeah.
Um,
So from
some people, however, took that to the next level. And there's some fundamental things I disagree with. Um, for example, scaling um having the possibility of being objective. Even if, for example, I think that we should be as objective as possible and striving for objectivity in our takes, no matter what. I still believe that objectivity in scanning is the point that we will never reach and we will never know how it actually looks like.
Well, yeah, I feel like with SCD it's going to be a lot more difficult just because of different interpretations of what may be happening inside of a story, right?
Yeah, I guess, but even so, there's still ways to determine which interpretation is better than the other. It's a bit more complicated than this. It's
Okay.
just not. It's all about not being able to lay out the precise message and have everyone understand things exactly as. It's not really about interpretation. It's about lack of uh intent to understand and also lack of engagement from the community because we're talking about the entire community, all the people involved in
Okay.
SCD. All the people involved influenced each other to a degree. If everyone influences one another to a certain point and we have both wrongs and rights at the same time, then obviously we're not going to get anywhere. It's all
Yeah.
going to evolve, and perspectives will upgrade. Takes will be adapted to the current which is used for that time being. And yeah, scaling as a whole is kind of complicated, and it's what makes it fascinating. It's seeing how people evolve their takes over the years. And you can see people either doing it because they have been illuminated on a new perspective, or they have some emotional appeal, or something happened,
Mhm.
or they just developed some sort of new perspective on how to scale it. It's all just a big soup of
Yeah.
possibilities.
This might be just be around the time where you kind of introduced mythology scaling, right?
Yeah, but that story is kind of focused on something different. If you remember stop scaling, it was something very, very popular in 2023, especially early 2023.
Mhm.
Um, it focused on, just taking face value on screen information and evaluating characters based on
What they do.
they what they do, and just the logical implications surrounding exclusively the face value information.
Mhm.
And that was sadly a very, very flawed way to scale. But I am also grateful at the same time that stop scaling came at the point it came, because um, it also helps people develop and stay away from becoming inherently narrative scalers. We just focused on cosmology arguments, or mm, uh, ontology, or just
Mhm.
uh,
Yeah.
the adversity, or the dependency of the scenario and all of that.
Yeah.
It made them think that it's not really that simple. There's some things to consider. Of course, people do not really know how to express that at that point, but even seeing people just go there and just claim, oh, this character is an unrealistic fodder, he has no feats and no that, it also helped the people which defended these versus suffering in stop scaling actually develop into something good. It's how Junko scaling began to grow. It's how Sora scaling began to grow. It's how many, many, many of those things happened to grow because they were criticized and attacked when stop scaling came.
Okay.
Um, and the premise of methodology scaling was that stop scaling was dying, and it was dying for good reason. And we finally needed to move on past it. And Stop himself acknowledged that it's out of date. And I was very good friends with Stop, and I saw that many people still blindly believed in Stop scaling. So me and him collaborated on creating methodology scaling, which involved actually using interpretations and abiding by basic logical principles, unlike stop scaling, and you know, expand on how scaling is supposed to be approached in a way similar to how PA kind of developed.
Okay.
Um,
And would you
and it
say
was just so methodology scaling was really just a tribute to stop, and also just a gift to the last remaining stop skillers so they can use it properly. I did not really use methodology scaling since it was something that I did not really appreciate. I was more so into looking into the likes of PA and even normal scaling,
Mhm.
which we'll get into a moment later. I do not think normal scaling is really a scaling.
Yeah. And so that kind of like for the most part summarizes like early 2023, would you say?
Yeah, it summarizes. Late 2023 is just drama season. Is when things start to fall apart, and I just kind of happened to just squeeze myself away from all that
Yeah.
since I kind of knew how to behave and ensure I do not do anything stupid.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure we
Uh,
all try to reach that point. I think from what I know, I think you did a good job because I didn't hear your name a lot because this is the point in time where I was a part of the community kind of, and I'll just hear like, oh yeah, this and this and this are happening, you know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, in that point, there was really just one exposal doc made on me, and it was so badly made it turned into a meme. If you have ever heard about the Dax Liebert before,
I have
uh,
I think I still
yeah,
have the doc somewhere actually.
so it's just trying to brand me as terrible person because of like some shit I said on Discord because just things I said in private Discord, even though my average YouTube comment is more toxic than just the things I said there.
Mhm.
Like, bruh. Um, yeah. Uh, the way we got there is a bit more complicated, like I said, because it has roots in 2023, in early 2023 in the first place. But before
Yeah.
that, let's talk about my channel, since you have mentioned it around the beginning.
Yeah, so
Um,
your channel, you from what I've seen, right? You started in May 2022 of the year 2023, right? So which was like mid 2023 is when you started. From what I saw, you started with CapCut and then the second edit ever, you immediately moved to AM. Why was that?
um, Well, about my channel, I was encouraged by people to start a scaling channel in 2022. Kyoka was the first person who recommended I start doing it,
Mhm.
and he tried to convince me to do it many times. At first, I said no, no way, I'm not doing it. I was just a commenter at that point, by the way.
Mhm.
Um, but in time, I just like said, okay, you know what, let's try. And I got sent to teach me CapCut, and I did my first video, and then I went to some people who were AM editors, for example, Pogalta, who actually taught me AM for the first time, and I just started doing videos. It wasn't that serious. I started with no Dutch games since I planned to, invest more into DG scaling at that point.
Yep.
Code was very, very complicated. Trying to scale um, trying to fully comprehend code in 2023 was it was impossible. It was something like an unreasonable task since it was so really not just long but complex, twisted, and very hard to grasp in general since it had so many things to take into account in general. For example, translations and all that, and
Mhm.
from that point, we got very far. We had a lot of progress, uh, and this is still advancing to this day. But there's still some big problems which I'm dealing with, which I'll get into a bit later.
So yeah, just by looking at your channel, I believe one of your first co-edits was actually it was not even in your first five. It was within your first 11. I'm pretty sure, which was
First, dude, I imagine being a code scaler in like the first 10 videos of your channel in SCD are not even code.
yeah. Actually, no, it's not. It's actually so 10, 15. It is actually your 18th edit with Nagamo versus smart characters and planning.
Yeah, or we can actually think of the first time I used the code character, which was in Silver's collab with me, Nagmo versus Mello.
Your collab with Silver. Oh yeah,
Fourth or
it
fifth,
is
yeah, yeah.
it is Nagamo versus. So yeah, it's your fourth edit,
Yeah. In
which
any case, I did not. The reason is I really dislike being so strongly associated with code, since it's just not that deep for me. People think it's,
mhm.
yeah, I invest a lot of time, and yeah, I'm pretty much doing a job no one will really like doing it. But it's just kind of fun and kind of like doing the things I promised, even if it can be stressful, even if at some points I just want to rip my hair out.
So yeah, you
Um,
just don't want to be not like you don't want to be associated, but you don't. It's not the only thing you want to be associated with. You want to be known
yeah,
for a lot more stuff.
exactly. I see people thinking I'm like the crazy code guy. We're just like, dude, this guy only scales code. Like, what, dude? Just click on my channel, bro. My main focus is Tomodachi game and
Yeah,
Kakeguru and what, bruh.
yeah. Which
I really, yeah, I want to stay true to code, and I don't want to disrespect the scaling and all the work I put in, because I think it's genuine, and I think everything I'm saying and I believe in is for good reason.
mhm.
Um,
Which
and I see some similarities with Silver here, because both of us kind of were branded as code creators, even though we do not really want to be associated exclusively for that. Yes, I
mhm.
can live with the mantle of being called, code savior or whatever, but just to be considered like, oh, the Kotar, oh, Dax is like, I don't know, bro. He probably has Koji no diffing back. We're like, bro, dude, calm down. I'm a reasonable person. I
Yeah,
I
you're still
respect every.
human.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Um,
Since, like I
but
said before, the point still stands. Um, I can still move on to anything else, and I'll just be me. It won't really be a different thing. It just,
yeah,
out of convenience.
yeah,
Uh, yeah, let's see some comments.
yeah.
Uh,
So, um,
yeah,
I want to talk about
making
your tournament
the
later, just cause I have a lot of funny stuff to say about it. But
yeah.
I feel like it's gonna be a lot more funny when I talk about it later. But just so you
Okay,
know, your tournament is better than Silver's, and I'm not just saying that because he's here.
okay, but we were comparing like 2022 versus 2024. It's not really fair.
Yeah, that is true. But
The tournament is
okay, bro just came in just to say that. Okay, should he be
well, yeah.
busy
It's
right now?
busy with what? I still got another hour.
Okay, okay. But yeah, so yeah, your channel does is mostly is focused around Tomodachi gaming category ever since like kind of its release back in 2023, which you started your tournament late 2023. Am I correct?
Yeah. The first time I previewed it was in middle 2023, around the time the collab with Silver Life first happened.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, let me think. I want to use Kakiguri, but the problem is, I don't know, should I use it against Code or TG? And just let me make a tournament, and just let me just, make a pool and see what people want.
Yeah.
It narrowly won over TG versus Code, which will have probably been over at this point, since, yeah, my takes on that.
Are you
Uh,
curious whenever you first started the tournament, like when part one came out?
what do you mean by curious?
Because I have the date pull up like right now, like when part one of Kakigurui versus Tomodachi game came out.
Bro has the statistics. Oops.
Yeah, I've done my research, guys. I'm actually a pretty good
Okay,
interviewer. I do
so
my job.
yeah, that's very nice. Big
So
W. So while you go search for the research, I will just drink a bit of water
yeah.
because what I did those 5 minutes while you were waiting for me to join was actually desperately searching for water in my house.
Oh
And
damn.
yeah, I failed, and and I actually got this bottle of water from someone who just brought it in for me.
Oh, that's lovely. So yeah. Uh, Kakaguri versus Tomodachi Game Part 1 came out November 10th, 2023. What you think about that?
That date is wild because I previewed the tournament in August or July. So think about it.
Yeah. So yeah, if we just go all the way back whenever you said that you
So,
previewed your
so
tournament.
there's two interpretations you can make here.
Yeah.
Either I suck at editing, or I sucked at editing, or I am just a very lazy person.
I wouldn't say that you're necessarily a lazy person, but yeah. You did take your time on the scaling, which could arguably be a lot
Y-
better.
Yeah. So I took my time on the scaling of Kakiguri since I focused on rereading the main one and reading Twin and just doing scanning around that. You said about it being better, or it can be better, or around that
Yeah,
time.
because
Can you elaborate?
you're taking all the information, you're taking your time, And didn't you also mention in like one of your comments where you're also taking the live action of Kakaguri into
Yeah,
consideration?
I finished it in 2024. I did not really bother with it since I knew that if matchups came, Yumeko would be like stomping some TG fodders around the early part of the tournament, so I can take my time until like actual people contesting, which
Yeah.
is really just Yuichi.
Yeah. I
But
guess we'll
I
just
want
talk
to
about the
say
tournament right now because
I
you
want to
killed my
say
goat.
yeah, yeah. I want to say first that yes, the live actions of both Tomodachi game and of Kakegurui affect the scaling of Yuichi and Yumeko
Hmm.
and other characters as well, but primarily these two.
Yeah.
For example, I want to say that Yumeko's best VSI fit is in the movies.
Really?
What?
Yeah, and the best VSI fit of Yumeko is in the movies. It's basically a full visualization of Hyakao Academy in like every like I don't, how can I explain it? It's just visualizing the whole academy in a way where she knows the exact locations of very specific random rooms which she has memorized, and also just knowing all the rooms, the respective room layering of the whole academy and shit.
Okay.
She does it in the gamble against Makuro, who just starts blowing the school up, and she was
Interesting.
like, and yeah, she just hears explosions, and she sees the arrow pointing out towards a place in the academy. And she's like, "Oh damn, this is the specific room AB2. Why no this random shit which no one knew." And then we saw her visual image of the room being torn apart and all that, and it's kind of it's just strange. In any case, it's actually a pretty good feat once if understood properly.
Yeah.
The movies do a lot of things actually. It has the best emotional management feat for Kirari, and it also has the interpretation of actually no, sorry, not the interpretation, because it's just downright confirmed her psychopathy. It's taken to the next level in the movies compared to the manga.
Interesting. I
Uh,
should probably check it out then.
So if you remember, I just did a poll where I said that Kirari has better mental fortitude than Riku Dola, and I still have that take. By the way, it's not close.
Yeah, I found it now. But
Yeah. So, in any case, back to the movies. I just talked about them. So yes, they do affect it, and I'll just say for now that Yumeko gets more buffed by the movies than Yuichi does by his own movies.
that's
In
pretty good to
the
know.
Yeah, in the Tomodachi game movie, the most interesting thing I can say is that Shibe there has the completely different role, and dude is a bit smart. He's basically the traitor from the very beginning, and he's some sort of Kuroki and Kokorogi hybrid, but worse than Kokorogi, obviously, but better than Kuroki.
Okay.
And he basically is the one who planned over, like, Tenji's revenge and all that, which we know in canon happened because of Kokorogi's actions.
Yeah.
Uh, who knows where the live action of TG could have been taken if they continued? They could have made a better version of Kokorogi and just basically buffing Yuichi's adversaries and just adversaries and moving on to making some interesting twist on TG since the plot line of the final movie in the second half becomes completely different from anything we have in the manga.
Okay. So I might check it out myself now. Thank you for letting me know.
Yeah, I'm just kind of promoting it since
Yeah.
maybe people want to see. I see people starting doing research and watching the Change the World movies. So
Yeah.
why not give TG a go?
Yeah.
Um, back to the tournament. So what do you want to know about it?
Yeah. I want to know why you killed off my boy Shinji, bro. My goat. My goat of TG, bro. I was so hurt when I
Well,
saw that
he
part.
yeah, he carried.
Dude,
He
I saw
carried
him
a lot.
cooking left and right. I'm like, yeah, that's my dog Shinji, you know? And
And
then
then he just
he died. And I'm like,
he
no.
died. Rip. He was killed by Rain,
Yeah.
which let's just say he will meet Yuichi soon.
Is that a spoiler? Oh, you
I
shouldn't
mean,
have.
not dude, not really, considering there's like 4 people left in the TG pool, and
Really?
um,
Oh, four?
Yeah, there's 4 left. Yeah.
Not be
yeah.
today with the tournament.
Just so you know, I already have all the takes, and also I already have all the parts already made. I know where the tournament ends. I know how the tournament progresses as well. Thing is,
Yeah,
I'm just,
I
I'm
saw
just,
Mystic's little spoiler in one of your fucking videos.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So the goofy little part of yours where you said, "Oh yeah, there's a what's it? What did you say? There's a little hint or a little goofy
Easter
point.
egg.
Oh yeah, there was an Easter egg in the one of the
there's many
knolls
Easter eggs. There's many Easter eggs in many of the
in the edits.
tournament parts. Yeah,
Interesting.
and for example, Mystic has some, Krish has some.
So did you tell them to put in the Easter eggs, or did they just do them because they were a little
They
bit
s-
silly?
they started it first, and then was like, dude, just keep going. This is cool.
Oh, so they're just being goofy goobers.
Yeah. So I have a lot of respect for people who came to help me with the tournament.
Yeah.
I first started it and I was like, dude, I made this so ambitious. How am I going to do this? I'm cooked.
No.
And then I met Yuichi. I mean, not really met. I just came into contact with Yuichi Sensei and Mystic, and we started talking, and they agreed to help me out, and I'm very, very grateful to them for all the effort they've done. Not really just them, just the people who came to join eventually. And I will ensure that aside from their edits and the channels being, complimented for the help they given me with, I will make sure that have a bit of personality left in the tournament, and also they are remembered in the tournament as a whole as members, contributors of the tourney directly. And what I mean by this is in the final part, which features either Yumeko or Kirari versus Yuichi, as you can imagine. I
Yeah.
won't really give a spoiler on who is in the final part, but anyway, in the final part, I will. Yeah, I will
Bring me a full scale.
Oh, obviously. So so wait. So I'm going to check right now. At first, I wanted like 8 videos to be a full scale, but right now, let
Whoa,
me tell you how many are full scales.
whoa,
So
whoa.
what if I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 full scales currently? I initially
What?
planned for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 additional. So basically 11 full scales.
Rest of the tournament full scales.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so basically the final part of the tournament all full scale. But right
Yo,
now
bro's
we
trying to
only
catch up to me.
right now I'll only say the remaining full scales.
Okay.
Yumeko, Kirari, Ririka, Mary, Sachiko.
Against
Interesting.
Yuichi?
Against Yuichi, all 5.
Mary against
In-
Yuichi has a full scale, and that's interesting.
yeah, well, you're going to see my Mary scan. Or you're going to be like, damn, this
Oh,
is
I
interesting.
probably know your Mary scaling. I know what do you call it, based on your Mary
But wait,
versus
wait, wait, wait,
Mello
wait, wait,
video.
wait, wait. Dude, what do you mean by dude? Mary doesn't deserve a full scaling when you had Nagumo high diffing Mary, bro. And
Well,
your
that's just
Mary is
that.
and I'm a Mary Glazer, and so you're not a Mary Glazer, so you scale Mary low, and somehow you have high diff against Nagumo. Nah, I won't forget that.
Bro's like, yeah, Mary actually solos.
Yeah, Mary's a Takia victimizer, actually.
Yeah, you know what she is. I mean,
Don't
You should
spoil
definitely do.
yourself now, Dex. Don't
You
spoil
should definitely do
yourself.
Kakigiri versus. You should definitely do Kakigiri versus Coke because I'm interested in those takes.
I feel like you
I
should
will.
let I feel like you should let him finish this
I,
one first.
I
I
know,
will
I know.
finish. I wait. Don't worry. I will finish this one, but I won't do Kakiguri first versus Code since
Oh,
I've gotten some complaints about me focusing too much on mid tiers or low tiers or borders or just not high tiers in general. And people are
really?
like, dude, you're a good scaler. Why do you focus on fodder so much? Go scale fucking Baku and Ha like 99% of the
No,
community does wrongly.
I, no. You should do what you love instead of like. I mean, you should listen
Yeah,
to
I'm
your
comfortable
viewership.
with my I'm comfortable with the way I scale, but I also took that into account. So, should I make this uh you know interview more interesting by spoiling my future tournament in 2025? Should I?
Oh, if you want, we could save that for later when we talk about your future, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Since I already told some people this, it's not like a huge secret anymore since my mouth was like
Yeah,
But
you're a whole big yapper.
okay, yeah, the sad part about the next tournament is it's going to wait. I'm currently very busy with academic life, and I also know that this tournament will be finished in 2025, possibly February, possibly a bit earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing is, um, I plan to take a break, like a 1 month or 2 months break after the tournament ends.
Okay.
Because I need to go and focus on Koji scaling. It's just so much to do. Is like even in as a secondary focus, it's just unreasonably long. And the reason I'm forced into this situation is, as I said like 3 times by now. We'll get into it.
Yeah. And so now let's go back to the timeline, right? Because we talked about 2022, we talked about early 2023. You want to go back to late 2023? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we can talk about this now. Drama season. Uh,
Yeah, left and right. We talked about how you got a doc, which was now known as Dax Liebert.
that was not that was like very late into the drama. Like at that point
Yeah,
it was just over. Like I was like, what are these goons, sorry, what are these, how do I
goobers.
pronounce this, goobers doing? Yeah, goobers. Uh, I was like, dude, what's the point? Like, what are you going to do with this, bro? Just prove that I'm making fun of Sora for being a pedo. Like, okay.
That's so real though. That's so real.
Okay, bro, I'm such a horrible person for doing that. Remember.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway. uh So basically, the personal stuff which happened was Center versus C, and I had a drama with Pachoks actually, but it was very random. It just like happened for no reason. It was not really anything grudge worthy. It was just like bros just started hitting on a Jay's server.
Mm-hmm.
And publicly called it out for being a horrible environment when SSC came as a female. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the one who flexed his girlfriend in chat and also like requested nudes of anime girls to people in DMs came as a girl, so you know. And she was verbally assaulted in a voice chat. So yeah, J Chef server should be canceled. And I was like, what the fuck? Where's your proof, bro? First of all, like I already knew SSC Ninja from back then since in orphanage, me and
Yeah.
Ninja stayed up for hours talking for by scaling, and we talked about our personal lives a lot. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
I will not get into my relationship with Ninja. He's a very funny guy. I'll just say this. I do not hate on him. I just make fun of him because I find him very funny.
Yeah, like a friendly way, like, oh yeah, uh, like if I tell someone like, yeah, you're such a fucking goober, bro. Like
Yeah, exactly.
it's
Like,
just playful.
he's my goober. Like he takes himself so seriously when I look at him, like goofy goober. Yeah,
Yeah,
SSC.
yeah,
But yeah, he's a cool dude. Well, let's just say this.
yeah.
Um. Yeah. So the drama around that, I think you can see my posts on it if you like go through like no, sorry, a year ago, exactly 1 year ago, or
Exactly a year ago.
yeah. You'll find some posts on the drama and how it just escalated. That was like this. I'm starting with this drama first since it's out of context and has nothing to do with what happened in progressive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, from your post right here, obviously because Patch is sadly now gone, the ping doesn't show anymore. But yeah, you were talking about the reasons why he was banned and the accusations and having Jay's reaction to your message that you were talking about.
Yeah. So
He didn't have any
yeah. So
evidence.
yeah, exactly. It was like defamation with no proof except like
Mm-hmm.
SSC Ninja being now a female. And thing is, SSC Ninja was not even present in the whole drama at all.
Mm-hmm.
Not at all. No word. He was just like, bro, just Patrick's just trying shit. And then I went to confront him in the is server, and he was like, dude, you just replied to me. I got a reply back. So now we're even. Like, dude, this is about being wrong and right. What do you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, let's just not talk about that. It was just a secondary drama to, like, start getting into the topic properly, since you wanted to talk about
Mm-hmm.
dramas in the first place. Um, if you remember the exposal docs which were made in 2023,
Yeah,
if
I do
you
remember those.
the Cento one, the C one.
I don't think I have those on hand.
Okay, so you don't even need to. They're private.
Okay.
Um, but that happened because of Seek coming back to SCD and calling
Mhm.
out a scaler known as Inferno, who was in my private server at the time. If you
Mhm.
have heard about TFC,
Yeah, I have.
yeah, TFC is my private server, and it's a very old server. It's around the time Orphanage was
Really?
up. Yeah, it's like ever since that time, it was the place where I talked about COTE primarily.
Okay.
It's like the top secret lab known.
Okay.
It's like yeah. Well, at this point, it's kind of dead. It's like a very goofy server where we just have fun. And it's about close friends, really. Many people who were very close friends of mine left the community at this point. For example, Inferno and Sento,
Mm-hmm.
who just moved on past that era. But they're like I'd say very important figures, which were part of the history of all the dramas, and also just people who stood by my side all this time.
Yeah.
But if I'm talking here from the drama's perspective, so you can understand that, yeah, it's kind of like this is why there's this code side versus the inside thing involved, because my server was kind of involved in these events at least.
Mm-hmm.
Since the people targeted were people who were part of it, so we just have happened to have a place we can rely on one another.
Yeah.
Um,
And
Dude, it's been so long. I do not even remember the entire contents of the drama. I just remember that we reached a conclusion that doing this in public was pointless after the whole drama ignited with C and Kyokoji.
yeah.
And I even had another exposure made by myself, almost completed, but I talked out of it and just agreed that let's just delete everything and move on past it. Kind of like how it happened recently with Sahej as well.
Yeah.
But with Sahej, it's a bit more complicated. I won't get into all the details, just say some basic things.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
well, I talked a bit more about the dramas this time. I won't get into it more than it, especially in this 2023 stuff. There's nothing much to talk about really, since everything I say is very relevant to what's happening currently in the community. It's not relevant at this point at all.
Yeah.
It's just like some interesting fun facts and backstory, which I talked about. Um,
Yeah, once I'm done with all these interviews, like I'm gonna do like 20 different interviews and I'm gonna make my own video called The Timeline of SED. Trust, it's gonna be awesome.
you'd have to so you have to watch these videos again and just save every ounce of information according to the time frame it happened and just fit everything accordingly.
Absolutely. That's
You
gonna be
just
my final project, guys. Trust.
you
This is
just
never
yeah,
happening.
you just have to be careful since people would just give contradictory information,
Yeah.
either out of by mistake or just to cover something. Anyway,
Yeah.
um
And then so essentially what I got from 2023 is that a lot of stuff was happening, a lot of back and forth.
a lot of shit, yeah. And this was the late 2020 especially was very bad time for not really bad, but it was just, oh, sorry, it was just very tough
Yeah.
for to be in the community, especially in the TFC server, and just someone around me, and
Yeah.
also for myself, since it just required to deal with so much headaches, which were triggered by random people just you wake up, you see a post tagging you about some random ass drama, or just your friends telling you, "Hey yo, they did this shit. Oh yo, no, I had a fight with this guy." Well, it was just
Mhm.
you wake up, you have a problem, and you need to deal with it. That was about it.
Yeah.
I could not be productive at all. Oh, actually, wait. You said no, sorry. We talked about the tournament, yeah. How I
Yeah.
announced it in August and it started in November.
Mhm.
Do you know why it took so long? Actually, it was because of the drama seasons. It
Oh, was
happened
it?
exactly in between. Yeah, exactly. So the drama season was between August and November. So
Yeah.
you can see you can see the how it fits. I remember
Yeah.
now. Yeah, it was such a busy time for me. We essentially just focused on fixing nothing. That's I could not be productive at all, even in code scaling or just my own content.
Yeah.
Um. Well, aside that, like I said, we can move on past it. We talked about the
Yeah.
tournament. I will start by saying that I think 2023, late 2023 specifically, was the worst era of XCD, followed by 2022, followed by 2024, which I think is actually a pretty good time for the community. But it's I have some problems with how things are going currently. I'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
And the best, the nostalgia time for like early 2023 when I try to get all the people together. Like Orphanage era is going to be something I won't forget.
Yeah. Um
Yeah, you can ask something if you want. I'll try to answer it if I know how to. At the same time, let's see if there's any more questions. If you want to ask questions right now, I can answer. Right now, I'll
yeah.
drink some more water because Center versus Sage. It wasn't really particularly Center versus Sage, but um, what happened is Sage already had a lot of interactions with the people which had drama with Sento, and Sento also said some things about Sahej because he was not very pleased with with how Sahej handled the drama between C and Sento, and Sahej did some things which I also disagree with. For example, how he tried to get Sento to basically concede. But anyway, they just kind of started talking shit about one another, like any other basic drama, and yeah. From that point, if you remember Saj and Sento's thing, yeah. Anyway, it's not really something relevant. I don't think neither of them care about one another, since it was just something very brief. And I also do not have the best knowledge about it. Mm, but yes, Saj actually publicly leaked Sento's face. That much is true.
Who's your favorite intuitive scaler?
Uh, let's see. So when we think about intuition scaling, we just think about people who just like say shit, which
Yeah. Who's your
uh,
favorite out of those kind of people? But
I
that
don't know. Let
sounded
me think of
horrible. Who's your, who,
I don't have anyone in mind, but let's think about some random basic troll, which is actually very funny. So anyone who actually knows how to troll properly and can make people laugh. Uh, since intuition scale properly, I wouldn't really call out anyone per se.
I don't know. I feel like
But I do
Silver's my
think some
favorite.
I do think I do think some people like Silver are
I
like
was
those.
gonna say that.
No. When you mentioned Silver, and I was like, dude, I remember because I tested Silver in chat one time. He posted some scaling, which I bet he did not read this piece. Oh yeah, it was Reverend Insanity. He made the video on Reverend Insanity, and I was like, yeah, he did not read this. Whoever is telling him or scaling by intuition or
Oh.
whatever,
Yeah, that
yeah.
was pure intuition from what do you call it? The people that scale over insanity.
Okay, so basically, you're the intuition scaler. You're my favorite.
Yeah, we can all come to
Yeah,
this conclusion, guys.
So dude, so you just so remember, you have Silver admitting that he's an intuition scaler here in
Yeah.
the interview with Dax. So this is a very important moment.
Yeah, right here.
Okay,
Uh,
I admit that the Reverend, like the Fang Young videos, a lot of them were intuition.
A
dude,
lot of them.
Because
forgive me if I go a bit off topic, but I cannot hold it in me to not question Silver. Um, dude, dude. So about your mellow scaling,
Someone, okay, that one is pure my opinion. I've actually watched Death Note over like 6 times and read the doc of Mello twice.
yeah.
So that
So I wanted to tell you actually when I first saw your takes, I wanted to like DM you and say, dude, do you know? Fun fact: the Mello doc is not really correct. For example, Mello did not plan his death. The author says this in HDR.
he
So
says it.
Mello's base most impressive foresight feat is fake, sadly. Yeah, I make a lot of fun for Mello because I fell in the same trap. I started scaling Mello higher when I first read the doc, thinking of this, and then I read HTR, and I saw that basically the author says due to his lack of planning, Mello died on his attempt to get in between Kira and Nier or something like that. He said in Dead Note HTR. I think I can bring up the statements. And I'll DM you,
Yeah.
so you'll see that I don't talk bullshit. But sorry for like ruining your scaling of Mello, but I need to do it, bro. Like you're the final Mello savior. I need to do it.
The final
Bro,
Mello savior.
Bro wants to kill off
Okay.
Mello
Bro,
forever.
okay, I guess Bro doesn't know fucking KK
Like,
skilling Mello.
yeah,
Okay,
so
this guy has a
like,
mid-diff.
at this
Mid-diff talk
point,
here.
yeah, no, I'm sorry. KK is just biased to talk about him. It's like it's personal bias, but we'll not talk about this. uh, anyway, I want to do this because, dude, I cannot hold it. You're the last person seriously scaling Mello, like a person who actually commits to scaling Mello. Even DN fans do not like.
It's a
I
hill
heard,
I'll die on.
like, dude, like even the most respectable Dead Note scarers do not care about Mello. They quit on him.
Well, that's a dub for you, I guess. You finally got
It's
Mello
not
as
a
a
dub for me. Like,
fucking
no, it's not a
Hawkita
dub for
victim
me,
out here.
dude. It's not a dub for me because because I actually like Mello's characters. He was actually very cool, and I remember like having the Mello profile picture as genuine sign of respect for me. But I really went back on my scaling for Mello. My real evaluation and my understanding of Mello completely changed.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay, so where
we
do you
have.
scale Mello now? Like on basis of COTE leveling, where would you put him at?
Well, first before we talk about code leveling, I'll just say that I have him relative to Kokorogi.
Oh, you said that in one of my comments, which I
Yeah,
think is
I was
mostly
not
like.
trolling. I was not trolling because I think I scale Kokorogi very high. Since she actually has very competent feats, like for example, planning Albets or planning the Sawaragi framing and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well,
about Mello, well, there's some sort of problems with just for example, what happened is the author completely debunked any interpretation of him planning his death. And all he's left with is the kidnapping strategy, which is like, dude, he spent 5 years or, well, sorry, how many years it was for him to gain influence in the mafia and just get on and create this unnecessary influence for him to like make his coercion strategy, and it was not really all that. Like, bruh, we have BB doing infinitely better in planning than Mello. Like, and I just want to emphasize that Mello's ability to formulate plans was just horrible.
I'm not gonna.
Anyway,
I don't have
no,
like
sorry, not BB. I
strong
said
arguments to give you.
Mello's, yeah.
Not gonna.
Anyway,
I'm just thinking about it right now.
I think I'll just talk with you in DMs about Mello later. No DMs. Actually, can I talk in VC with you while I show you the scan
Not
so we can like both
not
talk?
today. Not today, because after this interview is over, depending, I will be like heading off to class and like do stuff. But we'll definitely set up a VC call because next week I'll be more. Next week I'll have more free time.
Okay. Oh, back to the interview because my urge to bully Mello was finally fulfilled.
Bro's like, yes, I can finally kill off the last Mellow savior.
Yeah, I was like, bro, this is the perfect opportunity, bro. The final Mellow savior is in my hands. What's he gonna do?
Well, it's turning into Dax but
Bro actually manipulated Silver to manipulate me to get Silver into this interview just so this sole purpose, guys.
Yeah. Can we talk about the docs I made on other characters
Yeah, so what other
outside
characters
code?
did you make? What other docs have you made?
Well, I made docs on Change the World Ill, and I
Okay.
also contributed to Rikudola.
Rikudola?
Well, yeah, so let's first say that my involvement in these docs sort of was partial.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the ideas to make these docs were, let's say, um, well, not really. The Rico Dola doc was not my idea. I just contributed and helped expand on it,
Mm-hmm.
and also gave it the platform needed. But the Change the World idea document was mine. But who ended up working most for it was Ace. And when the
Mm-hmm.
document released, I focused on upgrading it, and I still plan to get back to make it as good as possible. Since I think Change the World L, even in the doc, can be buffed.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by buffed, I mean like further interpretation, further analysis.
Mm-hmm.
um I want to speak about those since I want to like again emphasize that I wanted to better the community understanding of some characters which are not properly understood. For example, Rico Dolas was just cosmology or narratively wanked
Mm-hmm.
without really getting into why his feats were so good. For example, until me and Jay first laid out the Rico's plans and strategies. For example, the whole Great War plan as a whole, and things like the Akas strategy. These things were only known in private by some very good no game life scares without really going to public about it. So we tried to like make people more familiar with Riku Dora, since in my opinion, having this type of scaling be monopolized on a character, like just making him seem untouchable without giving proper argumentation is actually just a form to monopolize scaling as a whole. It's just people focusing on making their characters be as unapproachable as possible. And I'll admit, I kind of do the same with Aina Koji, but I do it for good reason. What I mean by doing it with Aina Koji is that, my document is currently private, yes? However, I still make takes on, I still make videos showing my takes. Like I made Mello versus Volume 1 Koji, and that's a true take recently. It's an actual take I have.
Okay.
Volume 1 Koji beating Mello. And you'd be like, how does this happen? I still do not really elaborate on it. And it's not very correct, but it's not something I can. It's not really something I could do something about, because
Because it's how you feel, right?
really, yeah, it's how I feel, and the only other option is to keep not talking about code, and it's kind of not a good idea since I want to improve my scaling, and also
Yeah.
just anyway, the thing is why I do not reveal the scaling as a whole is just because it has so much work to do. If I right now reveal intricacies about early year one Koji, for example, class battle bidding or the NHS integration strategies, these are two strategies almost on the level of X strategy. So they're very, very strong strategies and very, very strong plans. But I still do not talk about them at all because if I were to make them public, and they'll scale way higher than what people currently have for Koji's best strategy. Um, I'd be forced into engaging into defending those takes and avoid people getting misconceptions as much as possible. And it would just make my life harder than it would be, and it would just distract me from the whole project as a whole.
Yeah.
But I'm also getting criticisms that for gatekeeping shit while still talking about it, which is fair. Um, I'm trying to think of a solution which I can essentially just be able to release some information from the document a bit earlier. So, for example, I released Year 1 Part 1, Volume 0, and I'll see what I can do with everything else, but it's hard. So, since I started talking about the document and analysis as a whole, I'll now start talking about the Koji document,
Okay.
which was first started around in early 2023, but was left on hiatus and just not really worked on till early 2024 when I finally started to work on it. I had many people help me, and it's actually a huge project. Um,
Yeah, I've heard it's a massive thing.
uh, Yo, Silver, just so you know, when we do that at DC, I'll show you the Koji Doc in the screen share. Um,
So just a small question: how many pages is it so far?
Let me look at it, because I don't know, but I think it should have hit 1 million characters by now. But
1
let's
million
look.
is
I'll just
crazy.
like 1 million characters, not words, not pages.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
remember. Okay, so first of all, the Koji document, as you can see in my post, is not really a document. It's a folder of
Yeah,
documents.
yeah. It's a folder of documents.
Since doing it in a single document will not be really possible, since the maximum character count for a Google document is like 1 million something characters.
Wow.
And at this point, we're basically around the limit if we were to combine the single, all the folder into a single doc.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let me just count the pages for all the individual docs. So first one, get the calculator. Get the calculator ready.
I'll have it ready. I'll have it ready. Okay. Hit me.
So pages, yes.
Yeah.
The first one, 16 pages.
Okay.
Okay. Second one is barely just started. Code timeline doc, which is just 2 pages.
Okay, 2 pages.
And then we have the watchman analysis, also not complete, but let's see right now. Let it load. 11 pages.
All right, 11.
Finally, the first proper document, which is the volume 0 document.
All right.
It's currently 66 pages.
66.
Yeah. Then we have the Advanced Nurturing High School System document,
Okay.
which 25 pages.
25.
Yeah. Then we have the Year One Part One.
Okay.
Let it you let it load. Still loading. Still loading. Still loading. Still loading.
Is
Not
it
yet
that
done.
big?
Uh, yeah, it's 282 pages.
282. Oh, wow.
Yeah, year one, part one. So we basically from year one, volume one to year one, volume seven included.
Okay.
And then we have year one, part two.
Okay, year one, part two.
So basically until the end of year one, this is 143 pages.
143.
Then you have year two document, which was not yet split, since it doesn't need to be. It's not big enough to be split yet. 50 pages.
50
So
pages.
year two, as you can see, is barely started.
All right.
Clearing misconceptions document, 9 pages.
9 pages.
Okay, and then we have these work in progress and analysis docs. So 6 pages for the ability analysis, which is just the Koji fit list summary.
Okay.
And the DTM strategies doc is not even started; it's just 1 page, and this is it.
All right. So, are you curious about how many pages this is?
Yeah, you can tell people.
All right. So, this is 611 pages. For one
Damn.
character, by the way, guys. So, just think about this.
Uh, just so you know, for year one, volume one alone, 70 pages.
For year one, volume one, guys.
Yeah, and that's like the complete one, let's say, the most complete. That's why I'm appealing to that. And basically it's because a lot of Koji's actions there are not only off screen but also on screen, but done in a completely different meaning than what is presented on screen. And it has a lot to do with how the author approached code and how many interesting things happen
Yeah.
from a false persona to how Kinugasa retconned and just many things involving it. It's just very interesting how Ainakoji actually approached entering the advanced nurturing high school. It's very, very smart and also very connected. Um, since all of Ainakoji's important strategies, which I call the multi-volume strategies, because all of them are, involved throughout a longer period of time.
Mm-hmm.
So they're at least happening in two different volumes rather than them happening into a single volume. So I'll just name some here. So we have the White Room Escape, which happens in volume 0, plus the Black Gear, which is volume 0.5, not yet released. Then we have the Advanced Engineering High School Inter, which is happening from volume 1 to volume 7. Then you have the class battle building, which is the precursor to class transfer. It's basically laying out the process and basically Ainakoji planning out throughout the entire class battle itself,
Okay.
which is from volume 1 to volume 6. Then from volume 6 in year 1, we can look at the first intricacies of Ainakoji planning his class transfer. Just so you know, Ainakoji already by year 1, volume 4, in Zodiac exam, he talks about transferring into another class. So he was already planning from that point.
Yeah. Interesting.
Then,
Okay.
then we have the X strategy, which happens between volume 3, not volume 4. That's a misconception. It starts from volume 3 to volume 7. And then the only one I didn't talk about is the one happening from the start of year 2, which is the bounty hunt counter. It's just basically Ainakoji versus the White Room in the bounty hunt and just, their whole scheme.
Mm-hmm. And what about the love letter strategy?
It's included in Bounty Hunt Counter.
Okay,
It's
so
just basic.
it's also included in Bounty Hunter. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, so Bounty Hunt Counter is a multi-volume strategy which includes some smaller strategies,
Yeah.
which those smaller strategies themselves are composed of more tactics.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's about it. Ever thought about writing a book? No, I do not want to. I'm writing the Koji Doc, and it's a nightmare.
Yeah. Bro, as Silver said right here, bro's literally writing the cult Bible. Bro's
Yeah,
making Koji the
so
next.
the thing about the code Bible is that it's a code Bible in the sense that it's supposed to be readable by someone who did not read code at all, and they'll be like, "Okay, I read this, I can spell code," and it will be like, "Fair enough, that's the point of the document." Like the Nakumo and Takuya documents were not really that. If you read the Nakumo document and do not really read code, you do not really have a good stance on scaling Nagumo. I want to say that if you read the Koji document, if complete, and all of those pages, you basically have a good understanding of how Koji operates. Enough so that you can, like, even without reading code, you already know. Since this is why I focus so much on the environment. If you have some I have documents on White Room. I have documents on advanced lunching in high school. I have documents on misconceptions and narrative analysis. All of this is so that one can understand the environment and how things work in the code world, so that they can be like, okay, so I know what this Koji dude is doing.
Yeah.
It's just trying to make Aina Koji approachable in scaling. Since he's a very, very difficult character to actually scale, but he has been so overused in SCD that people just scale him on whatever they think
Yeah.
and whatever it's made public. Let's just look at, uh, just the general scaling of Koji, how it goes and fluctuates between whatever arguments are used and presented. It's all just a big soup of, intuition scaling for Koji, in my opinion. Like,
Yeah.
even for me, even my scaling of Koji is a bit intuitive. This is why I kind of avoid using Koji. He's such a hard character for me to approach. I'm much more comfortable talking about Takuya and Nagumo, since I can actually have an easy time dealing with them. This is also why I kind of for this time being, I avoid debating Koji in general.
Do you
It's
think it's also
not
because the series is also not finished, so Koji's journey is also incomplete?
Yes, but even if it would be finished, while it would be easier to interpret certain information, it still wouldn't really make the job of actually writing all that easier.
Mm-hmm.
Since there's things which really so, for example, for the level of interpretation for my analysis of code is insanely advanced, in the sense that not only do you need a full code read when analyzing the volume, then going back at it again, but you need to remember no, the whole code plot from a chronological perspective. And for that, you need to go and read volume 0 and interpret and deduce ultimately the Ainakoji's whole intents from the very beginning, and be able to narratively fit all of that. Then you can finally go into interpreting some certain feats
Mm-hmm.
he did later as possible. And then you need to be certain that those feats are, you know, actually confirmed by the story itself. For example, a Koji feat in Year One, Volume One, which is insane planning. It's actually very, very strong planning. It's just weird considering that he was so seemingly passive in that volume and he did nothing. But that feat, respectively, you need to confirm through Year One, Volume 6, and Year Two, Volume 8 certain aspects of it after you have understood what Koji is doing.
Mm-hmm.
Without doing this, you would have never understood or even thought of Koji actually doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now let's see the question. Do you think making videos about docs will make it easier for the community to scale that certain character like Koji in this example? Yes, generally, but the thing is, in this particular example you have given about Koji, I don't know how feasible a video focusing on Koji will be. Like a series talking about Koji's feats will be better than a whole video. And I talked with some of my friends about this idea. Maybe we will do it. For example, Avent, I mentioned him at the beginning. You know, he's one of my friends.
Yeah.
So yeah, I talked with Avent, and he was like, "Dude, if I'm still if I'm still alive, and you know, you finish the Koji Doc, uh, you know, so you bet I'm going to make a lot of money out of that." Because
Right.
he plans to make full videos on the code analysis and just explain everything. But now we'll talk about the problems of the Koji doc. So I have given you an example of how complicated the scaling of Aina Koji can be. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'll just talk about how many people do you really think are capable of doing such a level of analysis? If I put them right now to like see this passage, this chapter in the light novel, how do you work with it?
I
The So you say first.
Yeah, so the way that I would probably do it is that obviously I would just a passage, right? I would try to interpret what happened in the
Not
volume itself.
not just the pass. Yeah, exactly. Not just the passage, etc. But you know, a certain portion of the plot line of code where Aina Koji has feats in.
So I
Anyway, okay.
yeah.
Sorry. You say first.
No, no. I'm trying to like process the information. I would probably try
Okay,
to understand
so
what's happening and then just like reverse it.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. So you need to first try to understand what is happening, and that's the problem. No, very few people are able to work on on the Ainakoji doc to such a standard that it's required for the Koji doc to actually be feasible.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and that's a huge problem because if there's so few people who can actually work on the document in the first place, and there's people who cannot really do much, since if we put them to analyze something, we need to go back and be able to integrate that properly and also ensure that it doesn't, have inconsistencies or it doesn't really, or in general, just making it better in quality.
Mm-hmm.
If we like, the problem is there's not many people who can actually help me in making the Ainakoji doc possible. There's some people like me or some of my private people I work in which are not even part of the SED community. I have people who used advanced programs to crack shit and all that since there's some things so difficult to understand in code, revolving patterns and shit that it's just wild. And
Mm-hmm.
even that is like not even close to getting class transfer, which is even crazier. Apparently, the class transfer plan in year two is so stupidly complex. It's just not feasible to even understand at this point in time. Even though I have an interesting idea of it,
Yeah.
since I've interpreted some things which Aina Koji has said in the final volume with the whole process which Koji has showcased. But anyway, the point I was getting at is I am forced to work alone on the Koji doc, and it being so long, we talk about a 10,000 page novel.
Wow.
Working with this amount of information alone is just insane. So even if I do not do it alone, at certain times I feel like this is just too much.
Yeah.
And legit, I contemplated about actually just quitting it altogether since it's just so ridiculous, and the standards I set for that just so high.
Mm-hmm.
And they need to be this high since I want to make it actually show how good and actually consistent Ainakuji is and was from the very beginning. Yeah, that's about it in terms of Koji scaling. I won't really get into it much more. So now we can talk about the future finally.
Yeah. So just for a little recap of what happens, uh we didn't go too much in 2024. I don't think we really need to. I think everything
Yeah.
that has happened already, people are already full aware.
You can, yeah, you can talk about like things, I don't know, PMH debate or whatever. But
Yeah.
I'll just say for the final time that the PMH debate in the current state, it's probably not going to get judged. Why? Well,
No.
the problem is there's been huge problems with the judges in the background, which I will not reveal. But judge inactivity and just before that, judge incompetence, just a lot of problems.
Yeah.
Uh, and just lack of initiative to actually follow with the debate anymore. I do not even care.
Yeah.
And the debate itself is pretty outdated in terms of the approach of criticizing and also defending PMH.
Yeah.
I have much better arguments now. Loy also has better arguments.
Part 3
And
when?
we actually
Part
part two.
three.
But and that's what I was getting at. Me and
Yeah.
Loy actually talked about it, and we were like, we will probably do another debate on PMH in the future,
Yes. Yes. We
but
get it.
that's going to
This
be like
time,
2025.
this time do it with competent judges. Some adult judges.
I tried to get competent judges. My first idea was to get a judge from the power scaling community, but that turned out to be a disaster since power scalers do not understand SCD standards. And it's pretty
No, I mean,
logical, but I assumed he was competent enough, and it was not the case.
not gonna
Uh,
toot our own horn here,
then
but
I tried
yeah,
then I tried the SCD judges, and I'll be honest, I also got massively disappointed. So
Gee, I just asked the co-author
at
to.
this and also yeah, nah. Okay, we'll just ask the code author, bro. We'll just keep harassing him until he replies.
Just
Like
ask
they
him
tried this.
if he has perfect
No,
memory
no,
hacks.
no. Wait. They tried this with the
time to
Yusoge
learn my
author.
Japanese.
They tried this with Yusoge author in terms of like the 2 second deviation strategy, the one
Mhm.
which is like debated whether it's a theory or canon or not. Anyway, about the debate itself, or oh yeah, about so I like I said, I was very disappointed in the judges. So and I'm also very disappointed in the judging process of SD in general, since there's not many people who can actually do it, and even if there's like people we have competent debaters who can actually show competent judgment, we can't really overly rely on them per se.
Yeah.
And even so, I still have my own problems with some of their approaches and things I've seen in debates, for example, like Ace, the thing he had there recently in RD. But whatever. What I want to say is that I don't think I can trust an SAD judge at this point. If I want to have a debate, I think I'll just make it a public judgment thing. For example, uh, just whoever wants to believe in the or no, sorry, who wants to document themselves on the feed being valid or not, they can just look at the arguments themselves, and they do not need to rely on someone telling them whether or not it is valid. They can, think with their own brain.
Okay.
So I'll just like, okay, here's the debate. We have no judge. You decide who won. We do not care. That's why I'm approaching. I do not tell Lloyd this yet, but I don't think he'll mind either, because that's kind of what happened with the first PMH.
Mm-hmm. And another event, probably like something that people were semi curious about, but something I'm not too passionate about going into was like the entire Sahej situation. I think y'all settled that on y'all's own. I don't think we need to go into it unless you want to. I personally don't feel
Well,
like it's big enough.
it's not big. It just happened something on whims. For example, what happened is um, I had my own grudge on Sahej for quite a long time. Since I'll just admit it, he's not a good person. I could call him worse things here, but I will not. I will not. Anyway, um, Ace started discussing with Saj in RD, and basically Ace attacked him. Or sorry, Saj and Ace together, started attacking one another. Started talking about that, and Saj was not stopping, and Ace was just like, "Fuck it." We had some information about some things Saj did in the past, and he just went and
It was
showed something, and then just I spawned in chat right then. I was like, dude, fuck it, why
I
not
was
go
there
all
for
the
the
way?
entire thing.
Yeah,
Like
and I
they
was
were
like, I
talking
was
about it. they were talking about a take, and then it somehow deviated into a mole argument in which Ace was like, "You're mole," well, here's proof that you're not, and just fucking sent some shit. I'm like, "Hey, yo."
Yeah. Anyway, that thing happened, and when I went to channel and saw Ace exposing, I was like, dude, okay, give me the at everyone tag. I need to show this myself. Since why not? At this point, why does it matter anymore? And just like went, it was completely done on a whim. But
Yeah.
at that point, I just went and at first I did not want for the exposal to be made. If you remember, Ace made the exposal and it was like done very quickly. I was like, dude, we should wait a little. I want to talk with people like Tensai about what Sahej has did. Oh, sorry, what Sahej has done.
Yeah.
Um, since he did some bad things.
All right.
Uh,
But I think
which
that perfectly wraps up 2024. What you think?
Yeah, exactly. I'll just say that the whole situation deviated with the actual person which attacked Sahej's,
Mm-hmm.
IRL life coming on, and I was like, okay, dude, we do not really need to take it so far. And yeah, Jade, I
Yeah.
remember the name. Um, and from the Jade situation, I just agreed. You know what? We can let this slide. In the main side, I agreed. We're not going to associate or try to talk with one another. We're just going to stay away from one another and mind our own business. Yeah, Jade just disappeared after the situation. He was just exposed for fraud, and they're like, bam, just went over because he had such a big mouth throughout the whole situation. It was crazy. Um,
Paper tiger.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can wrap 2023 with this. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, so 2024 with this, and we can
Yeah.
finally talk about the future. And then I can finally go and eat some dessert.
Yeah. My fault for keeping you here. It's almost been 2 hours. But
No, sorry, I already knew that we were going to talk for like 2 hours.
yeah.
I expected like a little bit under 2 hours, but it seems like we're going to reach 2 hours.
Yeah. So before we go into the future, right? We'll talk about the present, right? Do you feel like currently that you're the best person that you can be? Do you feel like there's anything you could do better? There's anything that you regret? Do you feel like where do you feel like you are now, basically?
Okay, so let's differentiate these. In SCD,
Mhm.
I could not care less about it. I just like tell you, I'll do what I like. I do what I feel is correct.
Yeah.
It's whatever. In my own private life, I feel like I did not abandon my old flawed mentality, and in the sense that I still am the person who only pushes himself to the limits when he's desperate, when he's in his own shit, and that's due to my just my natural character. It's my own way to be. Um, However, I'm starting to make some progress, and I'm starting to focus a lot on actually working on things aside.
Mhm.
Uh, you know, and like I said, I focus a lot on my academic life currently. I started hitting the gym again. I I'm trying to be more responsible, and because I've kind of shifted into an adult life with finally starting to have big responsibilities and also doing shit like driving and things which make a clear difference between what was in the past and what was now.
Yeah.
I can say that I have finally moved on to. But like I said, I think that I want. Oh, sorry. I think that I do not strive enough to be the best person I can be currently, even if I'm not dissatisfied with how I am. I think I'm in a good position, but I think I can do better.
Yeah. And so where do you see yourself in the future? You see yourself finishing the tournament, starting a new one. If you want to talk about
Okay,
that a little bit
so
more.
we will talk. So now we're finally going to the future. Yes.
Yes.
So I'll be very brief about this actually. First, we talk about the tournament. Then my final video before the break, which is announcing the next tournament. Which and you know what? I won't tell here, but I'll just say that it's COTE versus more verses at the same time. Oh, sorry, more not verses because they're part of the same verse. More of pieces of media at the same time, and
Okay.
it's going to be high. It's going to be high tier, and it's going to be hot.
A lot of hot takes is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, and exactly. It's going to be very fun. Anyway, that's going to be my next tournament, and I will do the video which announces it right before the break, and I'll then take the break, focus on the Koji document, focus on reading those additional pieces of media.
Mm-hmm.
Then after after I come back and start the final tournament, which is I think this, or maybe I'll do no, sorry, I think I'll after maybe do my own sorry, let me reformulate, because I thought of the order in how I will plan to do things right now.
Okay.
I will do this tournament, which I promised, Code versus the something. Then probably the Koji Doc releases will come sometime in middle of 2025, sadly, but it takes time.
Yeah, of course.
Then I'm finally, after that, past that, as a final way to say goodbye from the community, since I've done everything I promised and released the Coach Doc at this point. I will do my own SCD tournament, which is just general SCD scaling, just random high tiers and mid tiers and whatever. And when I'm finally done with that, I can finally like quit this community
All right. I
and
think I think we
move on
pieced.
past it.
I think we pieced a little bit of a good timeline for you. So
Yeah.
so you came into SCD 2022 in the phosphorus period where it was power scaling and SCD. You made your channel, right? You made a few
Yeah.
edits here and there, but your focus was mainly descaling. You started becoming more active in the community, starting up your own Discord server called Orphanage. Things,
Orphanage of Smart Characters Debates is the full name.
yeah, or Smart Characters
Yeah.
Debates.
Yeah, it was
Uh,
just like the SCD server. Okay, you
yeah,
can continue. Sorry.
yeah. Things didn't end up going too well. People ended up splitting different ways. More servers started to spread around, which really divided the community from your perspective. Um, Early 2023, late 2023, a lot of drama started to arise between two people.
Which
Uh,
made kind of quit my own mentality about trying to bring people together, because it was
yeah,
impossible at that point. I was beginning to be antagonized by some people, and just when you can do it, you can do it. You can just move on past it.
yeah. So you try to do your best sometimes, you know.
I tried to do my best, and I think it didn't end up too bad.
Yeah, and
And, and right now I'm just like my own person. I do not really mind anything. I'm recognized for what I do in this community, and I'm satisfied with that.
yeah,
And that's basically it.
yeah, and
Oh,
you're proud of the person who you are today, but obviously you think you could do better. Um,
yeah. In terms of personal life, I couldn't care less about this at this point. Like I said, I started to be less and less active, and it's going to be a downward spiral from here on out. But
yeah,
it's all right. Um, Now about the question of Teriel. Uh, when I will quit, probably around late 2025. So in basically 1 year, I think I'll be out of the community at this point. I can finally give a date. Since many people asked me in the past, even in 2022, people were like, "When do you think you will quit?" And I was like, "I don't know, bro. When I feel like it."
yeah.
But to be
Uh,
3 years in the community, well, this is out. It's just ridiculous. 2 years is already quite much.
yeah. Someone asked, "What's your opinion on Sahej's intelligence scaling videos?"
Oh yeah, that question. Well, I did not really watch all of them. I saw something about his approach to splitting scaling in three components: contextual diversity, methodology, and just scenario, whatever. And that was interesting. Uh, I want to tell something. He made a good point about outsmarting s- um like the contextual diversity in a specific scenario being dictated by the character's expertise, and he mentioned Tokchi in one outs against the guy in rain game. What was his name again? The blonde guy who looks like
Aki.
no, not Aki. I mean uh
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I don't know the character, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. He was fucking hell, dude. I really forgot his name.
But yeah.
Anyway, so basically he gave the idea that yeah, he indeed in that specific scenario he's a tougher opponent than someone who literally no dips him out general smarting, which is a very good approach. Now someone can abuse that and come with the understanding that you can take Tokchi's own special expertise in baseball and take it in general smarting scenario and try to downplay him using that, but that doesn't apply to Tokchi because we see how versatile his process is. So I really liked that one specifically. The other ones I did not really watch them, or if I did not really agree with some things. So I'll just mention the highlights.
But yeah. What's a character that you really want to see scaled in SCD, or what character you want to be more common?
What character do I want to be more common?
Yeah.
Well, I think generally SCD was very poorly handled by, and it's just a missed opportunity since I think overall, it came back to what I wanted to talk about initially. Um, I wanted to say that this period, late 2024, which I said it can become its own period. I think it's actually a period of decay. The community is slowly dying in the sense that popularity is going, you know, well, not really, since we have editors like Capedits and just these new gen big editors which keep it alive. But I feel like genuine scaling at this point just becomes more stale, and people go back to the old way of arguing on YouTube. And I feel like the general understanding of intelligence scanning as a whole goes backwards in a way, since the very smart people, the good debaters, are only centered around a very small part of the community, and that part is made up of veterans which are slowly leaving, so that this part of the community is dying. So it's going to be a very interesting refresh, I'd say. But about it, I don't know if it can last. The SD community might as well die as early as 2025, around the late period.
Okay. What do you think about, or the question before that is, where do you scale Lila?
uh Lila,
Yeah.
I just don't skill Lila. I do not.
All right. And what do you think about Coates writing right now?
It has potential, it still has, despite so many fumbles, despite so many things which I do not agree with, and despite the very small faith I have in Kino. It could go nicely. I don't know. I
I'm
was
personally
actually
excited for
hyped.
this
I
next.
yeah, me too. I was hyped by the latest illustration since it
Yeah.
gave us a very necessary political background. We finally have Kijima active in the story, and we have finally got Koichi's father as well. So we know Koichi is involved in something. Finally.
Yeah. I personally made an edit the moment I saw that picture.
Damn, that's nice.
Yeah.
Why do I think people are leaving SD now? Well, many people are joining, but the people who are leaving are veterans or people who just fed up with scaling as it is. People just move on. It's just natural process.
Yeah. Uh, Next question is, where's Dax from? If you're comfortable with answering that question.
Yeah, I am. I'm from Romania, and yeah, that's about it. I'm just Romanian, so I steal people's wallets. Yeah.
Okay.
So when I go to like Italy or any other random country, for example in Spain, I came back pretty rich because I came back with a lot of wallets.
Mm-hmm.
Light work for PMFT.
Anyways,
Yeah, I said I was part Ukrainian once because I actually am in the way basically. I have a cousin who took an ancestry test and like he got the nationality and shit. And apparently a a grandpa, or I don't know, a big sorry, a great grandpa or grandma of mine is full Ukrainian. So that was it. I was pretty surprised. In any case, since I am part Ukrainian, if Vladimir Putin sees me, I will be like, "Pow pow, shut." So rip me.
Now,
The
do you have
the
any
complete
questions for me?
the complete silence after this wild statement was not was
No,
something
bro.
I did not expect.
I was
Yeah, bro.
just I was just
I
going through
tried
my
to make a
checklist. I was
yeah,
going
yeah.
through my
I
checklist.
tried I tried to make a political joke, but you know,
Yeah.
I at least I got skulls in chat, so that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
just
right.
so basic. The idea was that you know, since we're getting invaded anyway and we're getting World War III, since Putin knows I'm Ukrainian, he's going to completely no diff me. Okay, anyway, moving on.
Yeah. I think we hit everything in my checklist. So do you have any questions for me? You could ask me anything of the sorts.
Yeah, sure. You can reveal who's the next person you plan to interview.
Oh, the next person. Okay. So I obviously have a few people in mind. I think one very obvious person would be Sahej. Would be a really interesting person to interview since he already does like a lot of face cam and stuff.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, so I feel like that would be fun. But next person that I have lined up, I don't know if you know who he is, but his name is Aspect.
I
Aspect.
know him.
Yeah, I've talked to him and he's interested. He's definitely interested. So
Okay,
that might be happening
that's
soon.
that's cool. That's cool. You can establish the date. Maybe I'll come visit if I have time.
Yeah, well, PX has open doors for you, Dax.
Yeah, I should probably be more active here, maybe. I don't know. It's kind of weird. I've never really interacted in PX that much.
Nah, don't worry. We have open doors if you ever just want to chat here.
Yeah, okay, let's see some final questions. Let's say final three questions, okay?
All right.
Favorite editor in SCD right now? Well, I'd just give some names. Kirigiri edits, Kyo Koji, Xora, and the recent one who keeps glazing Soichi. What was his name? Something with K.
Um.
KWYX. Yeah, KWYX. Yeah, Quix. Yeah, that
Quicks.
guy.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
And let me think, because I'm definitely not giving too many people credit. There's so many good editors right now in SD. Like the average generic editing is very 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 good. I don't know. I'll just say best mate because you know I'm biased.
Another random question they have right here is: have you ever done a video debate? Or
And by the way, wait. I'm just like Glaze Octa too. Octa, you're in the top 10 maybe. Yeah, you're in the top 10. Okay. Now next question.
have you ever done a video debate? I guess like a VC debate with your camera on.
Not a video, but VC debate. Yeah, the first VC debate I did was with Pachox in 2023, in like mid early 2023, and it was Ranpo versus Kei Shinomiya, and I was like, dude, let me just like try to bully Ranpo as much as possible, and I was like, dude. This guy had arguments ready. He had the full list of feats ready. And I was like coming with, let me just think in my head, what feats did Keishima have? And you can imagine how that went. I got
Yeah.
completely yeah, I completely destroyed. I was like, well, Kate did this and this and this, and he was like, oh well, blah 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 blah. Look, Rampo did this and this and this and this. Okay, yeah. But the good thing is, I somehow got him to accept at least logical manipulation going to Shinoman, which is wild.
Hey, you cooked though. I bet you cooked.
I'm like, okay, so he logically manipulated Kuroki to do this and this and this. I was like using random prison game feats. Like they're so weak, they're so ass, but they worked. And that's why I hold a grudge on Keishinoman and bully him. He's like my second next victim next to Mello.
Hmm.
Okay, now
Final
okay, let's
question.
see. Final question. Let's see. Okay, no. Actually, wait. Who is in chat right now? We have 5 people. I will allow each of you to ask one question from now. Final question for each.
For each person, guys.
Yeah, for each person.
Y'all better cook up something. Y'all better cook.
No, that's no, man. He's making me when will I finish the category, Doc? Nah, bro, I'm so lazy for that shit. Okay, I promise. I mean, I said I was doing it in September, but things change. Um. I'll try it because I made some progress. I removed the explanations bit, and I moved in a separate doc, which I pinned in my Google page, and I plan to work on it sometime. And actually, yesterday or 2 days ago, I updated my scaling. I added some new categories, and yeah, so far, what can I say? So far, you can rely on that AI shit. So, by the way, that's a very funny fact, Russ.
Mm-hmm.
There's someone who took my category document, which I made, which is actually pretty popular. I see many people using it actively.
Mm-hmm.
And they made an AI explanation of all the categories I use.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so basically, since I did not finish my own explanations, I just lived from a work in progress for months. Someone like, fuck this shit. I need someone to explain it for me, and he just made a document explaining all of them. And
Is it pretty accurate though?
He actually cooked in some of them. I was like surprised because it was ChatGPT, but some things are like not correct. But you know what? It works. It works. Like I'm actually happy that someone did it. They have the replacement until I finally do it.
Next question was Dax. What were you like in high school?
I'm still in high school. I'm the final year because this is why I'm studying. I'm getting ready for the exam. Yeah.
Yep. Next question: are most of your takes inspired by albino, or do you ever plan on scaling? Or yeah, because he said one question: are most of your takes inspired by albino?
Okay, I'll answer both. You know what? But I do
Right.
not plan on scaling Lila. But this first question is more interesting because I do not really have a connection to albino stakes. We do not have any sort of connection. Actually, I do not dictate his stakes, or he does not dictate mine. It's just he has his own. He has access to some of my scaling, and he can inspire himself from that. But our takes differ. For example, has Akiyama above Ainokujin reasoning. This is a take I do not have, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on. If you played any Legend of Zelda game, which one was your favorite? I do not play any Legend of Zelda games, but I wish I could have.
Now, Legend of Zelda is pretty fun.
Okay, no rephrasing. Sorry. Okay, let me rephrase. How
How
was my
is
high
Dax
school?
in high school? Or yeah, how has high
Uh,
school been?
it's pretty good actually. I kind of enjoy talking with the people I currently do. I have a team which oh, sorry, not team. I'm part of two friend groups. One which is like some sort of gamer things focused, and it's like full of like those kind of popular kids, or just these kind of dudes who are like big in social circles, and I'm interacting with them, and I'm kind of glad I do because they're amazing people. And there's also the friends I talk to more at school, which are kind of like the group of nerds. And I'm very glad I interact with them because I always get my homework done by them and all that shit. And it's amazing, bro. It's kind of like the most convenient shit ever. And I'm also very I'm also offering them my own services in the way like I'm driving them to school. I'm like doing this for them and doing that. We're like
Very
a
close.
very codependent relationship. Not really close. We're not really that close, but like we're mutually understanding our needs and
Mm-hmm.
make the best out of it. Uh, someone said advanced nurturing high school, dude. So we remember. I've been so much in the code community that I remember. Um, I remember being a middle schooler and reading code, and I imagine I was like, dude, I was having fantasies, like the eighth grader syndrome. I was having fantasies about, being in high school and being like, dude, I'm this like fucking genius like type of shit, like self-insert things you normally do as a child, and to see myself still in this community, still talking about the same fucking verse I used to daydream about in 8th grade, is kind of wild. Think about it like this. I made a joke one time about me starting out as younger than any first year in code and now being like around graduate level, around them. Okay, so now for the last time, this is really the final question. I won't really um
Really
let's see.
emphasize on this.
Yeah, this is the final question, so no more conditions.
No more conditions, guys. Whoever
So
presses enter first.
for now, just say Checkmate Koji is not father. He's just a Canon Koji victim, but Canon Koji is insanely strong. Checkmate Koji's solo is light, in my opinion, actually. For at least change the world light. I don't know about Canon. What are my thoughts on code fact fiction scanning compared to LN? I'll make the video soon. It's started. It's a very long video. It's supposed to be some sort of full scale-ish compared, but I'm very lazy. Oh, okay, not really lazy, but I'm very busy.
Yeah.
And with this, we finally answered the last question, so we can move on to like seeing our.
Yeah. All right. So obviously we went through your past, which was a whole lot of history on SED because you were experienced a lot of it. Um, we saw through your present, right? And we talked about your future. How do you think the interview went?
I think it went pretty well. I could have elaborated on some points better, and I could have, structured it better. But I think overall it's better that it went so natural and casual.
Yeah. I don't want to
I
I don't want to
also
feel like I'm pressuring people to like answer questions. So I try to have like more
no,
that
it
casual
was
feel.
yeah, exactly, and you've nailed this from an interviewer standpoint. You did very well. I want to say that I'm very glad that you've listened to everything I've said since you narrated what I explained about my past almost perfectly.
Yeah.
And what I also wanted to say is that I think this was a very good experience for me as well because I got to talk about some things I remembered in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I need to exercise my speaking a bit
Mm-hmm.
since I do not really get the opportunity to speak English
Yeah.
like in voice that much. I just type
Yeah.
most often. Yeah.
Now, Dax, is there anyone that you want to see me interview? So, like anyone that's in your position right now. Is there anyone in particular?
Um, I think since some of your questions are focused on anime things, you can potentially try Ace. He's a very interesting individual, and he's a good
Okay.
friend of mine. He's also open-minded. He was active in this server, as you know. He had his debate with Ninja here,
Yeah.
and he has a very sexy voice.
Okay. I was so caught off guard with that. But thank you,
Yeah, man.
Dax. Thank you for everyone that was here, guys. Sorry that I took this interview took so long. This was very enjoyable. Dax, I hope we stay in communication. You're a lovely guy. I
Thanks
wish you
a lot.
nothing but the best.
Thank you as well. I wish you a huge. Sorry, I wish you good luck on this project of yours, which is very very ambitious. I mean, of course, this whole interviewing things, and
Yeah.
you talking about the whole history of SCD, which is actually huge.
Yeah.
If you can pull off, you have nothing but my respect. And like I said, this was an amazing time. And yeah,
All right. Thank you all. And I'm gonna go get myself some food. Dax, go get the dessert. You deserve it.
yeah, okay. Thanks a lot, guys. I wish you have a good day. Now I'm going to my dessert. Bye.